Welcome, welcome, welcome. As they're messing with the live stream. Like they're all tapped into this. I'm glad you tapped in, Rich. Mm-hmm. So while we try to get everything together, because they come with the sabotage Sally on, just give us a set this out, and it's gonna be up. Oh, they don't want y'all to hear this. They don't want any notifications going out. The whole shebang bang. You know, you already know. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, yours truly, Carcino here. Now, I just told y'all about all of this. All of it. And y'all didn't listen. Or at least they blocked y'all from listening. We told y'all a month ago when this podcast with Max Kellerman and Rich Paul was put together. We said, wait a minute. Yeah, they watching. They saw that title and immediately shot up here. But I'm glad they watching. Is it clear for you? Can you see it? Because here's the thing. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. So the information is going to be here. Now, everybody is responding to what they've heard from Rich Paul and his comments about Austin Reeves. We told y'all a long time ago what was going on. Mm-hmm. Just 4 days ago, y'all got on my case about Austin Reeves when I said he could be gone by the All-Star break. Oh my God, Austin Reeves is killing. They wouldn't dare. I said, hey, there's developments going on that you don't know about. I explained it all in the video 4 days ago. Rich Paul makes these comments. You think this just came out of nowhere? Rich Paul is a puppet. So if he's a puppet and a little street hustler, who's got their hand up in that puppet, moving them around? Mm-hmm. So before we get into that, let's take you to some things you didn't know, unless you're on my Carcino for Life Patreon. And all my Patreon brethren that's here, welcome. Because now it's finna get even more interesting. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get all the way into the grease. Yeah, they're purposely not doing certain things. We get it. I understand. Like we know they game. We know why they're doing certain things. Would you want all this information out? Absolutely not. So they sending out limited to memberships. I mean subscribers. But we got something for them. Now, yeah, it's really weird what's happening here. They're trying to find a way to make it where you can't do the things that basically you should be able to do. That's pretty weird. Hmm. Right. Everybody's saying they didn't get a notification. And that's why we're trying to make sure we send it out every possible way so that people can get involved. Because when this thing get rolling, we finna get rolling in 1 second. Okay. Now, here we go. Come on. Somebody said, I got a notification. That's why I said this is limited notification they're sending out. The rest of the people that's just happen to see it. Now, this is where it's going to get a little harsh for those who don't understand. But, you know, this is where we get to the business. So Rich Paul and Klutch Sports was sued. Yep. They were sued, buddy. Breach of contract. Now, this lawsuit that you didn't hear about detailed all the events where Rich Paul and Klutch Sports did some devious practices to take a client away from XL Sports Management Group. Now, XL Sports Management Group sued the living dog snot out of Klutch Sports. And the reason why they did, because it was so dirty what they did, but it's what they always do. They had a former vice president of basketball for their partnership deals, a guy named Eric Eways. and he slipped out the back door to go work for Klutch. And they had a non-compete clause in their contract with him. So this guy allegedly took clients over to Klutch Sports. And they said, hey, Klutch was working behind the scenes, poaching our talent. Now, let's get to the lawsuits, right? Klutch came in, was playing that victim card. We don't know what's going on here. So Eric Eways, who was employed by them from January 25th of 2018 to February 15th of 2022, and his employment with Klutch in violation of his contractual obligation to Excel, right? He had a non-compete. He could not go out and get allegations he had 8 months left before he started working there. So everybody in here with these factual allegations that they said, and they put all the things about when Klutch got started in around 2012 and start saying where Rich Paul come from. They roll in this game off the court. Now, the NCAA they went into that ruling about NIL licensing deals and things that was entrusted to them being their roles as agents, as you represent clients. Now, they say the executive must also have the skills to expand the network through diverse introductions, chance meetings, and entertainment events. And these relationships that they have formed throughout building their credibility up in this business, it was all detailed here. As they detailed that Eways was a guy that maybe 20 or 30 people working in the United States in the basketball market with his type of expertise, seniority, professionalism, and that's why they made him vice president of basketball partnerships. So when they came to poach him, because XL was doing well, Klutch Sports, headed by Rich Paul, decided to tamper with this man while he's under contract. Still under contract with XL. Now, his employment agreement and his contractual commitments to XL said that it dated back to 2018. In the terms of it, Eway was paid a signing bonus and a substantial base salary and incentive payments based upon his participation in sales incentive plans. Now, this is where it's going to get even more interesting. Yeah, they made sure people didn't get notifications. Sorry about that, but they did that. Now, everyone that want to talk about fiduciary duties and active loyalty and company benefits and all things that matter, right? Especially into this. Now, the company had invested and continue to invest substantial time, money, everything, and resources into this lawsuit with the marketing. Now, let's get to where this is important. Because now you know with the NBA talent as well, as far as what he does and what he could provide. This is a lawsuit that's got a lot of pages, but because they want to explain everything that they do and everything. Now, if you want to read this entire lawsuit, this will be on the Patreon, on my Carcino for Life Patreon, and you can just halfway at it. But now, this is where it's going to get interesting. Now, this is where it starts to get crazy. And they said Klutch Sports and Eric Eways constituted unfair competition that unlawfully and harms Excel Sports Management. And they said the virtue of his employment with Klutch always has wrongfully violated the reasonable non-compete agreement, which was narrowly tailored to protect Excel's legitimate business interests. By virtue of his employment with Klutch, Eways has wrongfully violated his duty and loyalty to fiduciary duties to Excel. And now his employment with Klutch, he has wrongfully redirected brand partnerships and goodwill to which he was introduced and permitted to develop on the benefit of Excel Sports, and then taking them over to Klutch, harming Excel's legitimate business interests. By the virtue of his employment with Klutch, Excel's NBA talent would lose off-court marketing opportunities, and Excel would lose commissions, the number of value of which cannot be calculated, harming Excel's legitimate business interests. So this is a very powerful thing. Klutch Sports know to get in the game, they had to take the guy, promise him everything, and they duped this guy and pretending they still think they're working with Excel. He's getting the clients to move on over to Klutch. All these relationships now, he's getting them to go over to Klutch. When he's not even supposed to be working for them. And they kept this away from all of y'all. Y'all didn't know any of this was going on. That's why LeBron and them people are doing what they're doing right now, limiting this live stream. They had it like rocket, socket, robot when I came on here. And y'all gonna see how all of this ties into Austin Reeves. I told y'all 4 days ago. And they basically did what they did, trying to mess with the live stream. So here we go again. Yep. So they went into all of the things that he does, and they go right to count one, breach of contract. So they say this is against Eways. Excel incorporates all of these things that's been dictated in all of the paragraphs. Eway has entered into a valid, binding, and enforceable employment agreement with Excel that requires him to protect and not disclose their confidential information. Oh, no, I'm going to make it free for everybody. So if you're a member, you're a free member on my Patreon, you'll be able to read this whole lawsuit. Absolutely. Word for word. You can have at it. I've already read this lawsuit. So now, everything in this, in the employment obligation and all this breach of contract, right? They went to count 2 against fiduciary duties and duties of loyalty. You broke loyalty, which means that you basically took the clients and went over to Klutch and deceived them to make them think you still was with Excel. You just broke loyalty. So this is all against them, right? Trust, confidence. You proved he was a snake. Count 3 against Klutch Sports. Tortious interference with contract. You see that? Now, this employment agreement, which was executed by Eways, constitutes a valid and enforceable contract with him and survive the termination of the employment, and the employment with excels as reasonable and geographic and temporal scope, narrowly tailored to protect their legitimate business interests and do not impose undue burden onto E-Way. Excel has contractually and business expectancy that E-Ways would abide by the restrictions in the agreement. Upon this information and belief, Klutch was aware of the restrictive covenants contained in the employment agreement and the attended contractual business expectations between the two. Upon this information, despite Klutch's awareness of the contracts and business expectations, Klutch intentionally and without justification sought to interfere with those expectancies and aid and abet E-Ways in his breach of his employment agreement with Excel. Upon information and belief, Klutch encouraged and solicited E-Ways to leave Excel and join Klutch in breach of his post-employment obligations. Upon information and belief, Klutch also encouraged and solicited E-Ways to take, disclose, and use Klutch's behalf Excel's business relationships, trade secrets, and other confidential and proprietary information. Upon information and belief, Klutch acts of tortious interference with Excel's contract relationship with E-Ways is without justification, and the unlawful motivated by Klutch's desire to misappropriate Excel's business relationships and trade secrets and other confidential proprietary information. Whether Klutch knew of E-Ways' contractual commitments at the time it recruited him or not, Klutch has since been put on notice, has acknowledged the same, and has committed to employing E-Ways in breach of those contractual commitments. Klutch's actions were a significant factor in causing and now perpetuating E-Ways' breach of contract commitments to the company. Klutch acts of tortious interference with Excel's contract with E-Ways has and will continue to directly, prominently cause Excel to suffer great and irreparable damages and injuries, and it will impose to assert any degree of certainty that the exact amount in money damages that will be caused to Excel and will continue to suffer by the continued acts of Klutch Sports. Now, both of them got hit. Klutch and E-Ways, count 4. Tortious interference with protective economy advantage. It incorporated by the reference of the alleged allegations in the paragraphs above into the events rising in this action. Excel has maintained a valid business relationship with all of these people, and it was upheld and just basically appended. And all of this information that was going on, it was disrupted. Now, upon this information and belief, Klutch introduced E-Ways to join Klutch so E-Ways could provide Klutch with Excel's business relationships, trade secrets, and confidential and proprietary information to lure Excel's brand partners and usurp marketing opportunities for its own benefits. Now, absolutely. Now, here's where it's going to get even worse for the guards. Because now that they see that all of this is going on, yes, that's right. Hit the like button. Appreciate the love and support, y'all. Hit the like button up, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell. Appreciate y'all. Love, peace, and hair grease. Yep, we still cooking here. We cooking with that. We got all them greases on the stove going off. Because, see, it went another way also. Now, How was they able to get away with such an act, right? You might be asking, how did that happen? How could they do such a thing? Klutch Sports wasn't worried. You know why? Klutch Sports decide they're going to go to court and pull something off that nobody in the history of mankind has ever done. Klutch Sports decided they were going to go ahead and go to court. They felt they were right, which is shocking when they have all the paperwork, right? So they said, we're going to go to court and take this thing to court. And it was like, man, this is weird that they would feel so confident in a case like this, right? So the highest court in the state, Klutch Sports, was mad. Because when this thing was first launched, they were like, we're good. And it was like, whoa. So when they put this thing together, they had a trial judge who refused XL's case. They refused to issue an injunction. They was like, whoa, what's going on here? They had a judge that was willing to play ball and deny, as soon as XL got to court, without any justification whatsoever, the judge refused to issue an injunction as if it was just hearsay. It was the craziest thing anybody had ever seen in a lawsuit of this magnitude when they have contracts. And it was like, what do you mean? It didn't even make sense. Klutch Sports wasn't worried because they were backed by UTA. See, Klutch was a small company. Even with LeBron James, they were still considered a small firm. So they went and attached themselves to UTA. And by attaching themselves to UTA, all right, there he is. 1 month membership. I got to keep cooking them, bro. So all of a sudden, this judge rules against them, rules against XL. It didn't make sense. So they went to an appeals court right away, and they got a 5-judge appeal panel. 5 judges looked at this and said they reversed the trial court judge and issued a restraining order that prevented E-Ways from working with Klutch. And he had already been working there for 3 months with no injury to XL. That was outrageous. So they said Klutch and E-Ways appealed the lower decision by the courts. So they went there and they wanted to say if they can get an emergency stay to take the case away from the immediate appeals court. And they said, man, we will hopefully maybe this Friday we get stopped and we can go back to work for Klutch. But they couldn't work there no more. So Klutch and E-Ways already had asked New York in the higher court for the emergency stay of the injunction. But the motion for the emergency stay was denied, immediately denied. And it was denied the next day. So now they got to go to permissions to the appeal and lower courts, then the court junctions, that it get the permission to be granted to proceed the way they wanted to. And then they added the permissions to be denied. The New York Court of Appeals will only hear pressing novel issues of law. And there's no such issues here. And it's just a desperate attempt to get a second bite at the proverbial apple. So they were trying to say there was no harm done to anything. They was like, oh no, XL has not suffered any harm. E-Ways agreed not to compete with 18 direct competitors of XL for 8 months as part of his employment agreement. This case should be important to the entire industry that XL works in. This case is about protecting the integrity of XL's employment agreements, preserving its right to protect its clients, its confidential business information, and quite frankly, from all sports marketing agencies like XL, to ensure that its employment agreements and the provisions that are set forth, therefore, are enforceable. What Klutch is trying to do is say F that. You don't need that. So now that the judge ruled against Klutch Sports, now they went to the New York Court of Appeals to lift this restraining order and get this thing resolved. What's up, KB? So now they went and totally did tortious interference against XL Sports. Came in, took their vice president of business operations, took all their practices, all their contract and business secrets, Rich Paul and Klutch Sports, trying to bankrupt XL Sports. Taking everything from them, then tried to violate the agreement. Knowing they took this man, the vice president, took all their business secrets, took all of their clients, all of their marketing things from them, and moved it over to them. They know they did it. They didn't care. They didn't care. Now it's going to get even worse. Because you might say, well, what does this have to do with Austin Reeves? I'm glad you asked that question. Because now you see what was going on then. And then the rest of y'all just woke up when Rich Paul said this. This just connected all the dots to what I just told you 4 days ago. Let's listen.
How would you advise him right now?
I don't want to play fantasy agent, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I want to be respectful to his agent.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I will say is,
we're not playing fantasy agent.
He's in a great. Here's what I would say. Yeah. He's in a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
There's enterprise value, playing next to a Luka, playing with LeBron, for historically franchise,
for the team in basketball, really,
for the Lakers. And then there's a world where, but I can go elsewhere as a free agent and get every last dime. If it's a $20 million difference over 4 years,
right,
that's $5 million a year. The person that are inexperienced would say, oh, he can make that up because he's in LA. Not really. But I do think there's a world of enterprise value that comes with, right? And
personal competitive satisfaction for the rest of your life, telling your grandkids you won a championship if you were his agent.
Now, there's also a clip of this man saying that Austin Reeves should come off the bench. And we've seen that, right? Now,
I'm just be real with you. The Lakers' second superstar when LeBron.
Everybody is saying the superstar on that team next to Luka is Austin Reeves. LeBron's the third best player on the team. And they was like, what's wrong with that? He's 40,000 years old. He should be the 4,000. He ain't even, to me, the fourth best team player on the team. Right? That should be obvious. But let's take a look at this. This is 4 days ago. I told you, breaking news. Austin Reeves could be leaving the Lakers during the All-Star break. And y'all said, that's cap. And I told you there were things going down, right? I told y'all what was going on. With the Lakers, his agent and his agency, everything going down. So before Rich Paul opened his mouth, I told y'all what was going on behind the scenes. Every word of it was in this video and what he was talking about. And that's where you would know what was said, why he said it, and everything else. Because here's the thing. Austin Reeves wasn't supposed to be undrafted. Let me tell y'all the truth. Austin Reeves and his agent, who was Aaron Riley, don't worry about Barry. Barry's just the money. Aaron Riley is what he told you. He went to Villanova. He represented Josh Hart and the rest of those guys. They're a small agency. They don't represent like the big A-list clients. They represent people like Austin Reeves. So they're not a real big agency like that. But they get you paid. They fight for you. And Aaron Riley is smart. Austin Reeves was going to get drafted by the Detroit Pistons in 2021. They were going to draft Austin Reeves. I know that for a fact. That's fact. Austin Reeves was going to be drafted by the Detroit Pistons in 2021. Austin Reeves' agent told all of the teams he wasn't going to, don't draft him. He's not going to play for you. His agent made this decision for him to go undrafted. You know why? So that he could go and play for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's how the Lakers was able to get him in the first place. They knew what Austin Reeves could do, and they wanted the opportunity to get Austin Reeves. But to avoid having to trade for him, they went and had the agent go in there and say, Austin doesn't want to play here, to all the teams. So nobody drafted him. He went undrafted and got a contract in a practice squad with the Lakers. He had a practice and we just signed Austin Reeves. This guy's okay. They were going to sign him anyway. This was a way to get him without having to give up trade picks, without having to do anything. It's illegal. But this is the way they wanted it done. This was the Lakers organization pulling off this move. A lot of these people that you see go undrafted, they don't go undrafted because they weren't good and nobody's seeing them. This is a strategic ploy for some of them so they can get picked up by other teams. And they can fall down to the teams that want to get them, but they just don't want to trade up there, or they don't have enough pieces to trade up there to get them. Now, yep, they always pull in a finesse move. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting, people. After this finesse move, Aaron Riley gets this undrafted player, Austin Reeves, who nobody really knew about, and then everybody's like, hey, man, the white guy can play. Everything was going good. So he got his first deal in his contract, $56 million deal. Like, man, you went undrafted, now you got $56 million out of the deal, right? So he's getting 13-some million a year now. He's now put himself in position by not signing. They offered him a $89 million, 3-year, $89 million extension. You know what he said? Oh, no, thank you. Why would he? He's worth 3 times that now. Now you're not going to give them the friendly homeboy deal that you gave him the first time around when he was worth $100 million. He could have went anywhere else and got $100 million. But he stayed and took less money and stayed with the Lakers because they pulled off the finesse move. Now, this whole time, he said, I want to be respectful to his agent. Did you hear Chris Paul say that in that clip? I want to be respectful for his agent. Oh, tiny hands. I want to be respectful to his agent. You want to be respectful to his agent, then stop trying to steal Austin Reeves. So you're mad that Austin Reeves didn't sign with you when you guys tried to poach him and had LeBron James on the golf course playing golf with Austin Reeves, right? Trying to get him to go over to Klutch Sports. It's the same thing Kwame told y'all the agents was doing when Gil was trying to get Kwame to sign over with his agent and leave his agent. It's the same thing that happened. Rich Paul tried to get Austin Reeves to come over there to him and what all they could do for Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves stayed with Aaron Riley and said, no, because this man fought for me when I was nothing. I'm not going to switch up on him and do that. LeBron and them told him that was a mistake. And they're mad at the new ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers because they're not playing ball. And why do they need Klutch Sports? It's like, what do I need you for? I'm worth 5 years, $240 million. Austin Reeves is eligible for 5 years, $241 million. And this year, he's been playing out of his mind. So he showed you he could put up 30 and average 30 a night, get 11 rebounds, 11 assists, 10 rebounds. He didn't put up numbers that other two guards haven't done. So now they trying to block this man up. Oh, it's finna get even more interesting, KB. It's finna get more interesting. So when this didn't happen and Austin Reeves was going through his contract negotiations and he didn't take the 3-year deal. Now, because of the negotiations that's going on with the agent, and they're telling him, hey, do you really want, he wants to be here. The Lakers is family. There's no bigger team. Do you want to be making more money in a town where nobody knows you? It's not going to be any sponsorship. Do you want to be a Memphis Grizzly? You want to be over there making nothing? I mean, making money, but you're not on national TV. Nobody see you anymore. You're not selling jerseys. You're not doing anything like that. Here in the Lakers, you're going to be getting profit revenue. There's opportunities galore to make money. And you're playing next to an elite franchise player in Luka Doncic. And then we got the fading star of LeBron James here for how long, or however it is. Now, what Aaron Riley don't want is to be in LeBron's shadow anymore if they decide to have LeBron. You know, it's like, look, this is too much. Having my guy play with him and, you know, his interference and the way he plays. And they basically is like, is this guy going to be here or is he not going to be here? You know, that's part of the equation, you know, because if LeBron's going to be here next year and it's going to be more of this, we might as well just go somewhere else. You know, they play in that game, but the Lakers are going to sign him, in my opinion, to a 4-year, $190 million deal. Okay. They want LeBron gone. The Lakers don't want him there. They're milking this as much as they can as like a last chance, last dance type thing for LeBron. Other than that, they want him out. And this is the way to get him out, is to do it in this fashion. You know, they trying not to be disrespectful to him, but LeBron is acting like he wants to go. And if he was willing to waive his trade clause to go somewhere, please do. Please do. But now they playing dirty. LeBron's trying to act like he's Austin Reeves' friend and been doing it in the whole offseason. Taking Bronny. Have you noticed LeBron, who has never played golf a day in his life, now is a golf junkie? Oh, man, I love golf now. Man, this is my new sport. Now this whole summer, he a golf man. Austin Reeves played golf. He don't party. He don't go out and drink. He don't do none of that stuff. Now, let me tell you what was coming out, and it was leaked out mysteriously out of the blue, right? That involved Bronny, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. And only my Patreons knew about it. That's how much they cleaned this up. The Los Angeles Lakers scrubbed all of it out the way. You know why? There's no TMZ, nobody talking about it. Why? Because white folks was involved. This was involving white folk. And when white folk get stuff going on, they clean it up. So that's why I tell all of y'all, make sure y'all get the Patreon, because you want to be ahead of this information. A lot of this information I'm telling you now is on the Patreon. But we're going to get to all of that right now, because I'm going to do y'all a favor. Because it's Christmas time. I don't get no 50-year-old dudes gifts. But y'all going to get one. Not this one. This is for Patreon only. I'll be shut down over here. The Rock sold his daughter out for a massive deal. And he did. Now, let's go down this thing here. Diddy. We had already told you about Diddy and them Asian exes. And there they go. The Wesley Snipes, the Jordan story you never heard of. The rapper that got cornered by the Skittles crew and got blackballed. Joe Budden and Michael Jordan, that's not it. Gil Knight, we seen that. What you need to know about record deals, we did that. If you're a membership, you got that. Skip Bayless stole from me and others. The Mike Tyson meeting, when we met Mike Tyson and how it went down. The Jordan thing, we getting there. Tupac and what he was trying to say. We getting there, people. We closing in. Hold on. Trump with his Trump accounts. LeBron stat padding again. Let's load some more up. I can't believe it's this far down. This is how far down, how much information has been put on the Patreon. Jordan versus LeBron and his legacy. Devin Booker, Blueface when he got released from prison, Ray J situation, Klutch Sports exposed. What y'all hearing today, we told them back in the Patreons knew back in November. Now it's getting close. That was the Thanksgiving blessing. That's SZA and Kendrick Lamar thing. And here it is. There it is. The Lakers scandal. This is a scandal that's been going on, and y'all knew nothing about it. Y'all knew nothing about this Lakers scandal. This is all connected. Why? Because this is white people problems. This is what I told y'all was going on, and nobody seemed to have covered it. See that white guy down there with Austin Reeves? He's a famous YouTuber who makes all these millions of dollars just like everybody else. And the other girl, she's a person that makes money too, being an influencer on social media pages. And this guy that you see down here is a huge Austin Reeves fan. They go to the Laker game to see Austin Reeves, right? And all hell breaks loose. LeBron comes over with Bronny James, and the girl here tried to holler at Bronny James. This girl here, she's young. She's supposed to holler at Bronny James. And Bronny turns and runs away. Yeah, Papa. And he runs, right? And then LeBron go over. Hey, I said, you should follow me. You play golf. He's over there trying to basically get the girl's info by trying to be friendly, but flirting at the same time. This guy is the date. He the one brought her there. But he ate something and got sick at the game. So he's like, man, I was sick the whole time I was at the game. But I brought her here. She was my date. Now, Austin Reeves has been with his girl since high school. So now Austin Reeves, he outs Austin Reeves for trying to holler at his girl. When this is the only, like Austin Reeves don't follow nobody, but he follows him. He goes into the girl's DM, starts sending up stuff. So dude put him on blast. He put Austin Reeves on blast. And nobody talked about it. Nobody picked this up. He put LeBron and Austin Reeves on blast. So I'm going to give y'all a little.
Oh, yeah. It's the Lakers scandal. Yep, it's a Lakers scandal that's been leaking out slowly.
Now, the reason that it was leaking out this slowly is because they knew one or two things. They knew they was trying to find any way to mess up Austin Reeves for not signing with Klutch, in my opinion. He didn't drop his agent. He stayed with his agent. He didn't switch over and go to Rich Paul and Klutch Sports. And LeBron over there playing golf with Austin Reeves. It didn't work. He didn't go over to Klutch. Now here comes the scandal and the slander piece to try to mess his name up.
They've been doing a good job of keeping this thing quiet. Now it's starting to leak out.
This is why you got to get
now
my
it's
Patreon.
time for you to know what's going on. My Patreon VIPs, of course, we give it to you raw. Now listen, everyone's going through their changes or their modes of what is the change. Now, here's the situation and the scenarios. because there's a lot of people that don't understand what's happening out here. So this is what's really going on. There are some podcasters that's on YouTube. This guy named Steve Will Do It. You know, he's a very popular YouTuber or whatever. He has Logan Paul on there. He's cool with those guys. He's, social media, part of what they call the Nelk Boys and all that. And they, he's worth about $4 or $5 million. So he's not like some scrub. But here's Austin Reeves, right? And I think LeBron James influences, influencing Austin Reeves in a bad way. Austin Reeves has been with his girl for 14 years, since 2014. So probably about 14 years, man. He's been with this girl for a minute. Like since they was in high school. That Jenna Barber, that's his love, his squeeze, She's been rocking with him since high school. And now he's a Los Angeles Laker. And he's a star and he's playing for the Lakers. Now, how does this all connect? Well, we finna get into the doggone Lakers scandal of our lives. That's involving Brownie and LeBron and Austin Reeves. Now, this guy, Steve, is dating this popular girl, brings her out to see everybody, this Karina Cope, and everyone sees this Twitch, social media star, and she's worth millions as well, or hundreds of thousands, but she keeps trying to capture on, all this attention for, she's got like 4 or 5 million followers here on TikTok, another 600,000, so she does quite a number. So this story has been growing legs, and because of the Lakers' success now, and LeBron comes back, it just really went up times 10. Now, this just kicked off like 3-4 days ago, and then the rest of it started pouring out. Now, this woman who's an influencer or whatever on social media, she sits courtside at games, and people who watch her show or watch his show, they know of him, LeBron knows who this Steve Will Do It dude is, and he knows who this Karina Cope is. So all of a sudden, LeBron James makes a drastic attempt to go over and speak to this person. But before that even happened, at a game, she tried to come at Bronny James. She tried to hit on Bronny. And when she saw Bronny, she tried to flirt with him. Now, he brought her there to the game. This Steve Will Do It. He brought her to the game. This was his date. And she turns around and tries to give it up to Bronny. Like trying to flirt with Bronny and everything else. And Bronny was like a deer in headlights. He turned around and left like, I'm about to go to the G League. I can't have this. So he took off. And right when he took off, here comes to the rescue. LeBron comes over there. And LeBron sees her and they start talking. And LeBron started inviting her to come play golf. Yep, you need to come play golf. Yeah. Woo, yeah. Golf, boy, that's my game. Yeah, yep, that's what I do. Yeah, you know me on that golf course. Yep. Yeah, you should come out there. Come on, Karina. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Yeah, we get out there on that golf. Tell you, man, I'm probably a better golfer than I am a basketball player. Yep. So now Karina Cole is being flirted at. After trying to flirt with the son, the daddy comes over there and starts flirting, trying to get her to come play golf. Now, here's the thing, though. While LeBron is making, friendly conversation, what the real plan was, and Steve Will Do It exposed all of it, was the fact that this was Austin Reeves thing. Austin Reeves, who's been with his girl since 2014, he's a golfer now because he runs behind LeBron James. And LeBron be out there having him playing golf with him. So he be golfing with LeBron. And Steve Will Do It saw what was going on. It's like, this dude is in my girl's, DMs. And he's cool with me, and like, yo, man, what's up? Trying to be cool with me. And at the same time, you trying to get at my girl. And he says this, Austin Reeves was my favorite player in the NBA. And I made it well known. What does he do? Try to fuck my chick at the time. Austin Reeves, shame on you. You got a guy who posts about you and only follows you, and you're like, I'm going to fuck his chick. You're a menace to society, and you need to be stopped. Boom. Laid it flat out. So he said, look, all these ordinary men, I'm telling you, these athletes and rappers will try to steal your girlfriends. Your girls on social media, you are going to have to compete with these people because they are ruthless chick killers. Damn. So you didn't even know none of that stuff was going on. Nobody knew a lot of that stuff was going on. And all for this Karina Cole. They about to throw it all away, and they put Austin Reeves out there on blast. About to mess up everything he got going on to try to mess his money up. And we wouldn't know any of this had went down because all of a sudden that guy is going to say and start outing all this stuff out. And the Lakers start shutting this down immediately. And for them other guys who gonna try to act like they came up with it themselves, they researched it. No, you didn't. You never even spoke about it. And we've had this on the Patreons, as you can see, for about a month. So my Patreons already knew. You had no information on this. All right. You don't find all this suspicious? You think this is all a coincidence? You think the lawsuit of them and the practices that they do to try to get people and tamper with people's money, you think Noel and what he went through, making him not sign with the Clippers so he can go somewhere else that would service LeBron? Noel, what he went through, saying that
He wanted to play for the Clippers, and they were lied to about what the agreement was. And then he was with the Knicks out of the West. They didn't want to help the Clippers get stronger. LeBron was like, why are you sending them to the Clippers? Rich Paul didn't want to send his clients to the Clippers because they can't lose to the Clippers. The Lakers got to be the team. Send them to the East. If they either going to be on the Lakers or they going to be in the East. And you think it's a good idea to have people like Rich Paul and LeBron James running things now? And you see when they announced that Max Kellerman and Rich Paul were going to be sitting down doing a podcast show, what agent would sit down in front of a camera and do a podcast show? Who would sign with that agency? I wouldn't sign with an agency where the agent, the main agent that people that represent everybody is on podcast shows talking about team success. That's beyond strange. And you see old silly Gilly, he couldn't do nothing about it. He was all messed up. His brain was all scrambled. He couldn't do nothing. Because now he knows I can't talk bad about Rich Paul or Klutch Sports. I got to stay quiet. Meanwhile, everybody else, they saying what they did. You see Kenyon Martin, he ain't get the Klutch Sports check. He ain't get the memo. That's messed up. For a NBA agent to sit there and try to tell what teams are good, what teams are bad, I don't think this team is missing this. This guy should come off the bench. Somebody who's not your client, when you have a star client on that team and you're making suggestions on podcast shows that player should come off the bench, and people are not supposed to think that's agenda-based? Come on. We're not slow. I don't understand why they signed their life away to Klutch. I don't either. But, if you're young, if you're 19 years old, you're 20 years old, this LeBron, this Rich Paul, you know them through them because you've been playing 2K, watching TV. These guys don't know the ins and outs of the business. They manipulate. They lie, cheat, and steal. As you can see from the lawsuit and everything we just exposed here today, these are the practices of these people. This is how they move and operate. Oh, LeBron would have been gone. If this was David Stern, none of this would be happening. There wouldn't be Rich Paul on a podcast, none of that. It'd be like, oh, you're a podcaster now? You're not an agent? You're gone. Last time he was on, I believe, Stephen A. Smith's couch. And it was like, what is he doing? Like, he said some questionable things when he was on Stephen A. Smith's couch. Because I've tried to tell people about Rich Paul, and I know people think it's funny, but the dude's a dummy. He's not that bright. You can listen to him talk, and you're like, and that's why I'm glad they did this show, this podcast, because it's going to expose everything. You're going to see how stupid he really is. And the guy who sued him this year because they didn't want to pay him, he's the guy that did all the contracts. He's the lawyer. He has a law degree, so he can go ahead and approve all contracts and negotiate. He's from Cleveland. They had to pay this guy behind the scenes. They went to arbitration. Rich Paul is a street corner hustler who's selling basically stolen jerseys. All Rich do is shoot dice and play cards. According to Gilbert Arenas himself, Rich Paul is a gambler. These are the words that comes out of his mouth of Gilbert Arenas. So now, if you know that and you've just seen and been provided all of this information from somebody who really do research, who really do the damn job, not the knockoffs, you start to see what's really going on here and start to get a real bigger picture as to why they do these certain things that they do. When Kwame Brown told you there is a go along, get along game, this is what he's outlining. The same practices that's happening now was happening then. But it's all about who you like. No, Gil's gonna run and hide. He ain't gonna talk about that subject with Rich Paul and all that. He gonna be real careful about what he say about any of it. He's a coward. And cowards are dangerous because they would do things out of fear. Everything they do is out of fear. So they've always been dangerous people. Cowards have other people killed. Cowards breaking in women's houses, breaking cars up. You know, it's all a sign of weakness. I know. You remember that he was scared to even say he was better than LeBron. Exactly. So Rich Paul isn't somebody that's saying that this is it. No. Rich know what's up. Now, when we look at everything together in totality, it moves like this. Because I want to be very clear here. This is how it's moving. If Rich Paul and the rest of those guys are playing this type of game, LeBron James isn't happy in LA. He want to be with the Lakers, but he don't like the current flow of how the team is running. He wanted to be ran in a different way. One that benefits him. Right, all the stats, all that stuff. Yeah, that's what they want. Oh, that girl, Karina Cup. Oh, her. Yeah, but see, that's why he did what he did to Rashad McCants. He wanted everybody to know McCants worked for me. He's under my thumb. You know, like I'm responsible for McCants because he knows everybody is better than him on the show. So even Swaggy P is better than him. Everybody on the show is better than him. He's the worst part of the show. I was like, he should just really not be on it, and it'll be a much better show. I have no idea about these people doing anything, really. Besides the Los Angeles Lakers making the moves that they're making, LeBron James is going to be unhappy because this is not fitting his style. When this isn't under your style of play, and it's not fitting what you're used to, they're used to being in control of everything. So when you're not in control of everything, and it's not going your way for the first time, you're going to do everything you can to try to alter that, to get everything going back in your direction. Mm-mm. Oh, well, they're going to make sure Max is okay. Max got a lot of friends in the journalistic point of view. Do I think the Rich Paul podcast show? I've only heard that one episode. So that's where I am with that. I heard the one episode. I haven't really gotten involved in anything other than. LeBron was minus 21 last night. Well, he probably was, but I don't really look at cup games and count them as anything because those are the most corrupt games in the history of mankind. So I didn't even review the game because I know what it is. No, LeBron James, what he's trying to do is absolutely different than anything you can ever imagine. You see, there's a problem in the scenario. And the main problem in the scenario, which hasn't changed and has stayed the same, is that LeBron James keeps trying to find ways to implement instead of trying to fit into what they got. Remember how everybody's saying they was wondering if LeBron gonna fit in, he gonna disrupt the chemistry. And after one game, they were like, look, he fit right in. LeBron can fit in anywhere. And I said, if you can't play one game and say somebody's fitting in, okay, it's over a number of games. You're going to start to see once he starts to implement himself. He came in trying to fit in because he knew he wasn't ready to do anything yet. Now he feel like, all right, I'm back. I'm back to being Braun. Once he start having that game, putting the invisible crown on his damn head, looking like an idiot, now all the problems are going to come forward. Now you're going to see the problems. Now you're going to see all of the nonsense with LeBron James. They done fed the ego. He done hit 10 straight points in a row. I'm back. And you're doing all that goofiness. Now, here we go. This is when all of this stuff is going to affect who? Who did we say it was going to affect? Austin Reeves. Luka is going to get Luka. Luka going to get his 30 in triple doubles. Luka is definitely going to be like, look, I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't know what you doing. Then he went ahead and did something unprecedented. He's going to out Luka Doncic's baby to the world. Luka went overseas to go witness, the birth of his child. And LeBron outs that to the world. Did y'all know that? He was out for a personal matter. Remember? LeBron James is out for a personal matter. I mean, Luka Doncic was out for a personal matter. Personal family matter. And he went all the way, flew back to his country for the birth of the baby. And LeBron James, in a post-game interview, said congratulations to him and the birth of his baby. Dude, you want to congratulate him, you go tell him y'all in the locker room. Go congratulate him. But you don't go and tell that man's business like that. That was purposely done. Mm-hmm. Do I think Austin Reeves should come off the bench? No. Not when you are eligible to get. No way. Not when you're eligible to get that kind of money. Where would that make sense? I'm eligible for a 5-year, $241 million deal. They don't give people that come off the bench 5 years, $241 million. This is going to absorb all the money that he wanted to go to his client. Oh, of course. He gonna want all that. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see how many people come to the realization about LeBron James. Because once his career is over, then people will start to, gravitate more to what's happening on the court. And he saw that in his absence. Nobody was begging for him to come back. They didn't want him back. Whenever he's rolling, it's all him.
You talked, I think you posted something after the tournament, just sort of about like appreciating moments and stuff like that. What was it like, kind of the interaction with the fans tonight as you were getting hot? And I don't know, did any interaction stand out?
I mean, one thing you know about Philly fans, they don't care about anybody besides their home teams, and I respect it and I love that. And I've played here obviously for 23 years. You know, a lot more when I was in the Eastern Conference, but to be able to have appreciation for the city of brotherly love, and for me to go out and still play the game that I love, and respect it, whatever the case may be, if they do. It's pretty cool.
You have a connection to their star and young and upcoming star and Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Up to summertime ball. What's it like to see that development play out in real time while also being able to kind of
family, and he's just taking full advantage of the opportunity, here, and he's make the most of it. And every summer we get together and train, get ready for the season. Obviously, it wasn't as extended this summer than previous summers because of the injury I was dealing with, but we did get an opportunity to get on the floor a few times. So, obviously, I love his game, but I love him, the person, more than even his game, and that's tough to do. As great as he is on the court.
After the Phoenix game, I asked you about being more on the ball, and you said, "Hey, like things have been working well for us, and that's not necessarily happen all the time." What are the triggers or the kind of the things that you see within the game that kind of indicate that maybe this is going to be the night where we do more?
Just play the game how it unfolds. I feel like, AR has some really good looks tonight, but, he wasn't, in the rhythm that he's been in all season. I understood that, traveling from a different country back here with a newborn, could be very taxing on you, not only mentally and physically. Shout out to him and his family for the newborn. That's amazing. So I felt like the opportunity kind of presented itself in a way that if I felt like my two heavy hitters, kind of didn't have it or, needed a little kick, then.
Who told you to put out Luka business? Who told you to put out Luka Doncic business about him bringing his kid over here, flying his kid back overseas? Dude, this is none of your business. This man just outed Luka Doncic. Just like that. Luka did not tell the press why he was gone. He didn't tell him anything. This man went and told the world Luka Doncic just had a baby. Oh, no, he's aware. LeBron's been in the league 23 years. He know what to say and what not to say. He knew what he was doing. This is strategic. He don't do stuff like that by accident. Right. LeBron knew what he was doing. Thanks, Brian, for the reveal, buddy. Exactly. And they saying I'm hating on him. I ain't hating on him. The man just did it. That's why I played it, so y'all can hear what he said. I heard him when he did it. I said, oh, hell no. Now, we gonna get up out of here, and I'm gonna let you guys go. And we got more coming. Just let me get, situated and get in my day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.